There's a 200-foot mystery hidden out here in the Yorkshire moors, and when it first appeared, a lot of people were trying to figure out what exactly this giant symbol meant. Is it a crop circle, some kind of target, or is it just a massive piece of art? And the truth is, it's directly connected to some genuinely unexplained ancient artifacts hidden right here on the moor. Artifacts that were carved into these rocks thousands of years ago. And in this video, we're going to take a look at both up close. We'll figure out how they're connected and where this giant symbol came from. But for the other half of the puzzle, I'm going to need your help. So let's go and take a look. Now for today's adventure, we are on Ilkley Moor, up in West Yorkshire in the north of England. And this place is pretty infamous. There's a lot of history here, a lot of interesting things been going on over a long span of time. Some of them fairly well understood, others not so much. And whilst this story does take us pretty far back in time, well, it starts much more recently, because 10 years ago now, this appeared here on the moorland, seemingly out of nowhere. A giant symbol, 60 meters in diameter, that's around 200 feet. And as you can imagine, it confused a number of people. It got a lot of people wondering what this is. And there were a number of ideas put forward. Some people thought maybe it's a crop circle. You're probably familiar with crop circles. They're not really so popular anymore, but particularly a number of decades ago now, they started popping up, particularly on farmland. I mean, crops, it's kind of in the name. Fields of wheat, for example. These often elegant and well-crafted patterns that many people thought may have been created by otherworldly life. But it turns out, well, they were just made by people. And this symbol, well, it's not a field of wheat or corn, but it's actually heather that it's been created among. So I guess it could still be an otherworldly message, but I don't think so. Others suggested, well, it looks a little bit like a target. Maybe it's connected to the various top secret military bases around the Yorkshire area. And you'd think that they'd be a bit more secretive, although there are some interesting spots around here. We've got the nearby RAF Filing Dales, which do a lot of interesting work monitoring the skies and space. We've also got, I think, somewhere loosely over there, RAF Menwith Hill, an even more highly secretive place that's a little controversial with many, and also a place that I think I'm still not welcome back to. The less said about that, the better, but I'm still holding out for a formal invite because I'd love to show you what they do there. And one final idea I came across was all to do with the direction of the line in this symbol, which takes us a little bit closer to the truth. Pretty big cairn, this one, a navigation cairn, just in case you're on Ilkley Moor in bad weather or at night time. Don't know what you're doing here at night, but you can use this to find your way. You're not going to easily get lost at this point though, I don't think. Now this line leading out of this giant symbol, somebody suggested, well, if you zoom out far enough on the maps or the satellite imagery, it looks like it's pointing towards York. And it turns out, well, it's not pointing to York, but it is pointing to something a lot closer to home here. It's pointing to something called the Badger Stone. Now the Badger Stone is home to something that's quite a significant part of Ilkley Moor, something we call cup and ring marks. These are prehistoric rock carvings that are found all over the landscape here. And not only that, but they're found in many different countries, and similar carvings have been found pretty much all over the world. They're a very significant part of the identity of Ilkley Moor and the wider Rombalds Moor that we're on right now. And one of the reasons that people find these so fascinating is because they're still pretty much unexplained. Being prehistoric carvings, that means that they were created before recorded history, essentially. So we have no records that would help us to explain what they are. All we can do to try and understand these earlier time periods is study what's left through practices such as archaeology. And that also makes things difficult to date. A lot of the cup and ring marks found here on Ilkley Moor are believed to be 4,000 or 5,000 years old. In other words, they've been here for a long time, and they were made by our ancestors many years ago. Typically these carvings feature the cup, this kind of circular indentation, and sometimes that cup is surrounded by one or more rings. Occasionally there will be other details, and as with this giant symbol, well, of course, people have been speculating for a long time, trying to explain what these might mean. We've got a range of ideas. Maybe they're maps, markers. Are they connected to the sky, astronomy? Maybe the stars, the moon? Could they be burial markers, or maybe prehistoric art? There are a lot of sensible ideas and theories out there. The problem is that we've never found anything that can give us a definitive truth. And maybe we never will. So that is one part of the puzzle that I need your help with, but there's another one that I think that we might be able to solve together, which we'll get to when we can look at this symbol up close. Before that though, let's have a look at some of these carvings and we'll see if they can help us to piece together the rest of this puzzle. Here we go, the badger stone. I'm really hoping the lighting is going to work in our favour today, because these can be a bit tricky to see in detail sometimes. Now, one of the reasons that this stone is so significant is because of its size. And whilst it might look pretty unassuming at first, you can probably already see some of these circular marks in the front of the stone. I'll do a bit of editing magic if necessary to try and bring these out. We can see here a really good example of a cup and then some surrounding rings. Now this is one of the biggest and most detailed cup and ring stones in the area, and maybe it's the most detailed simply because of its size. It's hard to be certain, but there's a lot on here, and thousands of years ago our ancestors, people just like us, were carving these in here by hand. Now by this point you've probably made the connection between the giant symbol and the cup and ring marks, and it's no coincidence because that huge 60-metre symbol was directly inspired by these carvings, specifically those on the badger stone. So now we know the what, but what about the why? Why is it there and who made it? Well, luckily I've managed to find the answer to all but one thing. So I'm going to tell you all the juicy gossip on the way over, and when we get there we need to have a look up close, and that's where I need your help for the final piece of the puzzle. Let's go and see if we can find it. I do want to give a quick thank you to you, all the supporters of this channel, for helping to make trips like this one possible. Running a full-time YouTube channel is it's a challenge. It's a lot of fun, but it's tough. And it's all made possible thanks to all of you. So if you like these kind of adventures, make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to get a sneak peek at upcoming locations before everybody else, join our members community and you'll get a little bit of advanced behind the scenes. Back to this huge symbol though. Well, it turns out that it is an art piece. It was created in September of 2016 by Philippa Dobson as part of her PhD at Leeds University, and it's called The First Cut. This was a piece inspired by a couple of things, partly by some recent wildfires that had burnt through the landscape around that time. Wildfires that it's believed by many were started deliberately. And then of course, symbolically, it's a direct homage to the cup and ring marks that make up such a strong part of the Moor's identity. More specifically, those carvings that live on the badger stone. And that's why the line, emerging out of the central cup, if you like, points over in this direction. And so one morning in September of 2016, Philippa came to the moorland here with the local gamekeeper, and with the permission of Natural England and the local council, they got to work. With Philippa's direction, they used a tractor pulling a flail mower, a few poles and some string, and the gamekeeper drove around, shredding the heather, creating this huge symbol. And if you're not sure what a flail mower is, well, because I wasn't, picture a huge long metal cylinder with massive teeth on, spinning very fast. And I think I can see why a few people were confused or speculating. And it's because it wasn't very widely reported on. It's not a secret. Philippa published her work. She's written about it, she's made video about it. So it's out there, but it's just buried slightly beneath the surface. And that final piece of the puzzle that I was telling you about, it's not clickbait, there's genuinely something I haven't got an answer to. And it's because this shouldn't be here anymore. When this was created, Philippa said that it was a semi-permanent piece of art. And I've got a direct quote here that I can read. She said, "In about 10 years' time, no trace of the first cut will be left in the landscape." From what I gather, the idea being that much like in the case of the wildfires, whereby the heather can burn and grow back over a long period of time, the same thing would happen here. So it would be a piece of landscape art that would fade over time. I really like the idea. But you might remember I mentioned, well, this was made 10 years ago now. Well, it'll be 10 years in September. And so we're getting close to that point. You would think that it may not be invisible, but that it'd be certainly fading away. And based on all the satellite imagery I've seen, it's not fading away at all. So either the satellite imagery is outdated, or I've made a mistake, it's possible, or something unexpected has been happening, or not happening with the heather. So I guess let's go and find out. I'm now having severe doubts as to whether it's here or not. Either it has gone, or it's invisible from a distance. I think I can see part of the ring though. Ah, this is it. It is here. So it's real. So we're currently walking up the line that points towards the Badger Stone. So September 2016, this was created. And I mean, it's showing some signs of growing back. But I wonder if they expected it to grow much faster. From what I understand, this was just full of heather, much like all of what you can see here, before it was created. And the impression I got from reading Philippa's accounts was that they thought, well, it would just look like this after 10 or so years. But this is all we've got. So heather's grown back in places. And well, I'm no expert on plants or wildlife, so this is where I need your help. Why has this happened? Why hasn't it grown back? Or is it just the case that this has grown so much more since this was cut down? And maybe some of this just died? I don't know. What do you think? Oh, we've got some cotton grass as well. This I do know. Shout out to Sam Bentley on YouTube for teaching me about cotton grass. So it just kind of looks like a wild walkway now. Not intended for foot traffic, but we're on open access land, so we're allowed to be here. We'll walk around and head into the central cup as well. So there's two mysteries there left for you to solve. One of them a bigger challenge than the other. What are the real cup and ring marks for? Why were they made? But this one, why hasn't this grown back? Why is it still so visible? Maybe somebody can explain that. And of course, I'm interested to hear what you all think of the piece. Now, if you want to come and visit Ilkley Moor, whether it be the symbol or the rocks or anything else, well, I can highly recommend it. There is tons to explore here. You can do long walks, short walks, or if you want, you can just sit on a bench and admire the views near the car park. It's a very scenic place and pretty accessible. We've got the Cow and Calf nearby with free public parking. You might struggle to get here without a car. And once you're here, the terrain, as you've seen, is varied, so it won't be for everybody. There's also a pub just over the road with great views down into Ilkley. I'll add the OS Maps route and the GPX file from my adventure today into the members area very soon. And well, I guess this is going to be my breakfast spot now. It's 5 to 8, it's been an early one. So I'm going to sit in the centre of this cup and ring symbol, have a bit of a snack, and then make my way back. Hope you've enjoyed this adventure. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, and fingers crossed I'll see you on the next one.